Yeah, after watching the tape, lots of things to take away from it that were positive. At the end of the day, evaluating everything that we're doing right now and put us see where we can put us in a better position. Obviously, 0-3 is we are what our record says we are. We haven't won a game yet. We've not done enough good things over the course of the entirety of games to win. And right now, that's the reality of our situation, and we got to do a lot of things better. Everybody included in that, me as well. So I'll let you guys go ahead.
On the sequence at the end of the half, you're talking about, deciding, going back and forth about whether or not to kick or go for it. Who all is kind of involved in that conversation, and just kind of how did it go down in terms of that?
Yeah, I mean those conversations, just as of before, like I'll keep those in house. Those are proprietary information at the end of the day for us. But there's people involved in it. We got a process that I believe in has been good for us over the course of my time here, and the decision is what it was, and I addressed it after the game. But yeah, there's a lot of people that work on that stuff.
What were the analytics kind of saying on that front? What did your team's particular analytics tell you at that point?
Again, I'm not going to go too far into detail on all this stuff, but yeah, I mean, we made a decision that we made, and it's my decision to make. And had we kicked the field goal and it's good, it's all these conversations go away. So that is what it is.
You and your decision making have been a big story. 2 out of 3 games coming into this season. Mm-hmm. How bad is that for you? That you're not talking about your players, you're addressing things that you decided.
Yeah, I never want any of it to ever be, about me. It's not how I want it to be. It's not how it should be. I don't want it to be about good or bad. It's always supposed to be about our players and what they're doing and what they're doing well and what we got to be better at. But yeah, the conversation about me is not one that I want to continue. It's just the reality of where we're at, being 0-3, and every single thing gets magnified, and some things haven't worked out for us in those spots, and they're opened up to criticism, and that's the way it goes in the NFL. And yeah, I certainly don't want it to ever be about me.
It wasn't this way last year. What's changed in your decision making that you're winding up in these spots?
That's hard to say. I feel the same way. I don't feel like we had any major things that came up from that point of view over the course of the entirety of last season. I think part of it is that we've been in some of these games, and those things get magnified when they don't go well. And that's the way it goes. And I think there's things that we got to do better, and I got to do better.
Given some of these miscues and some of the offensive struggles, has there been any consideration into giving over play calling to Bo or Nick or any of those guys?
Yeah, I mean, everything's under evaluation right now at 0-3. Certainly, it's all part of it. That's players in their roles. That's everything. I mean, we got to find a way to put ourselves in position to win a game. So we're evaluating everything.
Will you give over play calling?
I mean, there's nothing to add to it other than that. Yeah.
Talking to the players, a lot of them said that they got to avoid finger pointing and those types of things. As the leader, what do you have to do to make sure that you don't lose that locker room?
I haven't really thought about that, TD. It's more about just how do we best put ourselves in position to go win a game. I think winning a game solves a lot of those problems. We've unfortunately lost way too many of them, and I love the way our team works, the way they prepare. We just got to play. We got to play better on Sundays. We have to coach better on Sundays. That's the end all message for me. And winning solves all that stuff always. Whether they point fingers or don't point fingers, that's all we have is what we have in the locker room, and all I care about is those guys and how well we can rally our troops and go down to Houston and try to get ourselves a win. That's really all my focus is on. And I think we got the right guys in the locker room. They're made of the right stuff. They understand that this is, we're in a tough stretch right now, and we're trying to claw our way out of it. And the only thing you can do is ball your fist up and fight back to it. And there's really no other way to get out of a spot like this.
With that being said, though, you have penalties being the focus. Like, that was the big thing this offseason. You lead the league in penalties, and then you also look at one of the Colts players. He said the guys looked like that there was no bounce. It looked like they didn't even want to play. Like, when you hear that, and then And he said that pregame, but then when you hear that, and then you also see the penalties and everything, what is the big issue?
In fairness, I don't think those two things are related. When you win a game and you win it the way they did, you can kind of say whatever you want. I think if you watch the way the team played, that certainly wasn't the case by any stretch. We played hard and we fought in that game, and we didn't play well enough to win it, but it certainly wasn't. That I don't think that's an accurate depiction. But again, when you don't win, you don't that's just the way it goes. You can say what you want.
Two of your players did say they were flat, though, that the team was flat.
I didn't see all that. I can't comment on it.
I think at halftime of the game you mentioned the K-ball situation in regards to just before the half, but didn't hear that from you afterwards. How much of that played into the problems there? And I guess if you mentioned that at halftime, why not post game?
I just alluded to the operation in the post game. Just the operation in general. And again, at the end of the day, I got to do a better job, put us in a better spot. So there's really not much more to add to it than from what I said post game. So
The officials' operation?
Our
Your
operation.
K-ball guys' operation?
our operation as a football team and my operation as a head coach has got to be better than it was in that spot. So that's, again, I don't have much more to add to it than that.
Brian, we all wind up in a hole at some point in our lives, and we have core things that we fall back on. What do you fall back on right now to help dig out?
Fall back on fundamental football. That's the key. And again, we haven't done it well enough at this point. But and then when like I say, when your back's against the wall and you're in a hole, you got to dig out of it. And there's a tenacity that comes with that. There's a desire and a want to and a ball your fist up and go swing is really the only way I know how to do it. I've been in holes before. I've been in places that have had poor records, that have had things not go their way, and you end up in these spots. And the only way you ever get out of it is you got to do things better when it comes to your fundamentals of coaching and playing, and then you got to fight like hell. And that's the only way. There is no other way to climb out of holes in this league other than that.
The way that Calvin's playing right now, just not seeming to be able to make a play when there's a play to be made. Are you seeing any of that during the week? Is there anything fundamental to Monday through Saturday that has you concerned, or is it just showing up on Sundays?
No, it's really just showing up on Sundays, and that's always the things that are hard to account for. When a guy, there's nobody that works harder than Calvin. There's no one that puts more effort into it and tries to do things the exact right way and puts the work in to go make the plays. I mean, his work, what he's put into this to have the performance he's had through 3 games, I'm sure is incredibly frustrating for him, as it is for our team. As we need better from him, and he knows that too. He knows exactly where he's at, and it's just hard when a guy puts that kind of work into it and doesn't get the performance as a result on Sundays, and that's always a hard thing to grapple with as a player and as a coach, because there's nothing that would tell you that that's going to be the case. Sometimes guys struggle in practice and you see it coming. This certainly isn't the case. It just has had opportunities and hasn't capitalized on them.
To maybe I guess evaluate guys at inside back. I know James was inactive and Cedric was. You had Kazir White in there, some for Cedric. Is that something we'll see moving forward as well?
Yeah, we just wanted to see what Kazir could bring to help us. Again, against a team that was going to run the ball quite a bit, just to have a different guy that's played in there. Kazir's played a lot of football, and just to see what he could bring for us. We signed him to the practice squad, just like some of the guys we've claimed, with Jalen Armour Davis and C.J. Ravenel, and those guys are trying to see where they can help us. And those guys have all done a good job of getting up to speed, and Kazir's in the same boat.
Is it challenging 30-yard worth the risk of the timeout?
Again, it really, in the moment, probably not at the end of the day, but gave us a chance to kind of regroup and reconvene. And ended up, we felt pretty good about it. Ended up being like a free timeout since we got the challenge back. So that's all about it.
What facets of this team, Brian, that you believe have shown growth over 3 weeks?
Is there places that have?
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, I think we've steadily every week performed better offensively. I think our young players continue to step up and make plays. I've been really pleased with what Alec's done. Chim has been phenomenal in all the things that we've asked him to do as a returner, in the run game as a receiver, and touch game as a receiver. Really pleased with those guys. And then I think Cam gets better every time he steps out there. And there's been a progression, and that's what you're looking for from young players. Is those guys continue to improve. That part I'm excited about. There's been some good things offensively. We just need more of it over the course of a game. But those guys are doing some really good things. I think Tony Pollard's playing his tail off. He's given us everything he's got. And those are, I mean, there's definitely things that we're doing well. And I thought against a really good rush team over the course of the early part of the game, we were good on defense. I mean, they had some issues early on, and then, as it got later, we missed some tackles and gave them some extra yards that you'd like to not see. But there's still plenty of good things on our football team. And again, the losing games is what magnifies the negative things, and it's hard to get excited about things. But I really don't think we're far away as a football team from winning games. And that's the belief you have to have, and that's the belief that I have and our players have. And when you get into these moments, that's what you have to fall back on. Whether or not anybody else believes it is really irrelevant, because they're not in there every day and they're not the ones in the locker room. And you have to be able to believe in what you have in order to climb out of the hole on top of it. So there's things that are close, and I think that we're closer than maybe it seems, but that's usually how it happens before you turn, and then we got to find a way to turn it.
Leads the league
was
in.
pulled pretty early in favor of Baker again. Was that performance related, conditioning, or injury?
No, it was just more. I think Bake's got a little more familiarity, so he helped settle in a little bit there. I think we only had 50-some plays on defense too, so I don't know what the exact snap count for Jalen was, but I think it was somewhere in the 20s. I don't know if that's correct, but 17. Yeah, it was. So it was early. He had a thing or two that we got to get ironed out and cleaned up. Again, mostly due to the newness of being with the scheme. So, Bake went in there and settled down for us and did some good things. But he's still a big part of our plans, and he's going to continue to keep playing.
Leads the league in sacks taken. When you go, the tracking data on each of those sacks, his time to throw or the time to sack is in the 3, 4, 5, 6 second range. What are some of the things, if any, that you're seeing you guys need to do in terms of giving him quicker options? And then what do you focus on with the guy that's young and needs to get the ball out quicker? How do you emphasize that?
Yeah, it's constant conversation. It's an awareness of down and distance. It's awareness of where check down locations are. There's a couple in the game where he did a really nice job of that, especially as the game wore on. He's understanding it. It's getting more comfortable for him. It's easier for him to get it. He knows there's definitely a part to play in sacks and making sure you're getting rid of the football. His growth from weeks 1 through 3, I think, has been tremendous in that regard. But it's something we talk about all the time and emphasize that, we call plays that have options that down the field, and you're trying to get down the field. And I think early in the game too, they played a bunch more like vision zone defense and sort of forced him to do the patient thing and do that early in the game. And I think he got better at it as the game wore on too. And it's constant. It's going to be something that he's always working on, especially, again, 3 starts into his career. He's starting to figure out, but he's figuring it out really quick. And I think that's what is the most encouraging part, is that he really understands it, and he's trying to do those things more consistently.
To get within 34-20, I guess it was probably in the third. I guess, but at the same time, took a lot of time off the clock. Did you guys think at all about going, up tempo, no huddle, anything?
We were
like
pretty
that?
up tempo in those drives. I mean, we were on the ball a handful of times. We went with some tempo. I had some tempo runs called in there. We had some tempo passes. We were sort of in like a pseudo 2-minute style drive. I mean, we were trying to go pretty quick. Part of the issue is they're playing all, again, same conversation as the previous question, is that they start playing all these dropout zone coverages, and you got to take some of these short completions, and you got to work your way down the field. And that's what they should do in that spot. But Cam showed some patience and took some of those easier ones, but it does prolong the drive a little bit when you're trying to make those plays, and they're zoning and playing soft and giving you some underneath stuff to take. So good on Cam for understanding that and seeing it. But yeah, it's, you're trying to get going. We definitely were on the ball, and then you get in the red zone. Those are harder no huddle spots, because you're trying to get the right play calls in, and so you're trying to quick huddle and get them out. So there was a mix from no huddle in those spots, and we were certainly trying to go with some pretty good up tempo.
Alluded to slipping on turf a couple of times, looked like he had another slip yesterday. Is that
Yeah.
equipment? Is that something you can practice, or is that just circumstance?
I can't probably go too far into that. I have no idea. I'm not playing out there. I know guys have all types of ways they feel about all those things, but that's probably a better question for him.
He also doesn't seem to understand why there's turf at the stadium. Can we pass you some stories that explain it, that might help him understand why you play on turf?
Yeah, you guys can do that for him if you want. I'll stay out of the turf argument at the moment. Yeah.
I think you did on right side offensive line without two starters.
Yeah, I thought Blake Hance filled in and did well. I was actually really pleased with Blake's performance, being called on to come in. And again, we weren't sure, probably up until towards the end of the week whether or not he was going to take that kind of load. And he stepped in and played admirably. I thought it was a good performance coming off the bench like that and being able to step in. I thought that both tackles did some good things. Was happy with that performance. I mean, it's you're missing two starters on the right side. You're always a little bit concerned about that. But I thought those guys stepped in and played well over the course of the game. And again, in a game that turned into a drop back game pretty quick, we still tried to keep some runs in there and some movement stuff to help. But I thought those guys did a solid job.
Are you talking to Amy weekly, and what have those conversations been like to this point? Have you talked to her yet this week?
Yeah, we talk weekly. I'll keep all those conversations private as I always do. But yeah, I'm in communication with her all the time.
You heard yet this week?
Again, I'll keep all those conversations private.
You heard the reaction, from the fans going in at halftime and at times throughout the game. They even booed Amy. What's your message to them? Like, what would you say would give them hope that this thing could get turned around?
Yeah, I think that they have every right to be frustrated. Trust me, there's nobody that's any more frustrated than I am where we're at, and I understand it. And we haven't won enough games, and that's the reaction you get when you don't win those games. But I very much believe in our ability as a coaching staff. I believe in our players. I think that we have a quarterback that has shown that he's going to be the kind of quarterback that you need in this league, and he continues to grow and get better every week. And we just got to find a way to play good enough football to go win a game, and a lot of those things go away. And you just got to win one. We can't win 6, and we can win 1 this week. And our focus is going to be to go try to win one game. And you win 1, then you try to go win 1 more. And that to me is the way you have to look at it. That there is no other way for us. We operate in these week-to-week basis. But I believe in what we do and how we do it. I believe in myself. I believe in our players. And we're going to have to play a better brand of football. And when we got to get some things fixed and corrected, and we will. But I certainly understand the frustration. But again, there's nobody that puts there's no amount of pressure anybody can put out from the outside on me that I'm already put on myself to perform and do the job that I know I'm capable of doing. And thus far, don't have much to show for that. But I can guarantee you that we're working like crazy to get it fixed, and we'll do whatever is necessary to get there.
You get a shot at either of the starters back on the right side for this week?
Yeah, there's a shot. Certainly, I think we got to wait and see on Zeitler over the practice week, and JC will be the same way. See where he's at. There's certainly potential.